We just got a brand new update for Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare Zombies. This brings some much needed changes, an unfortunate camo change, they nerfed the bots in Zombies, and so much more. We're going to be covering everything that happened in this update in a rapid style format video. That way you can quickly watch it and get right back into game. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure to unlock the sub button. Now moving on to the blog post, the first thing we have here is stability changes. Resolve the crash that would occur when viewing the weapon challenges. Anytime the game gets more stable, that's a W. We've got some other bug fixes. Closed an exploit that allowed players to equip weapon camos they had not unlocked yet. So people were able to put on camos like Interstellar or Borealis, even though they hadn't gone through and unlocked those. Then they addressed an issue that prevented players from equipping the Borealis weapon camo once it had been unlocked. Most of the people who spent the time to grind out in Zombies, get all the gold weapons, get the Borealis camo, they just weren't able to use it. It'd show in game that it unlocked and say like, hey, you got Borealis. Then you'd go back into the menu and it'd just say, oh, nope, you can't use it. So hopefully if you're one of the people who took all the time to grind Borealis, hopefully you can actually go in game and use it now. I know it wasn't bugged for everyone. It actually unlocked for us when we got it a few days ago. So a pretty massive change for anyone who is affected by this. Then we've got some cosmetic changes, and the last one some people are probably not going to like. Dragonfly Blueprint for the M4 will now appear as expected across all platforms. Addressed an issue that prevented the appearance of the IO operator from dynamically changing as expected. Adjusted the ghoulie camo to prevent it from becoming overwhelmingly bright in dark environments. So they have changed the ghoulie camo again. When it first came out, it was darker than what people expected. So then they brightened it up, and they have now darkened it again with this update. Okay, I don't know why, but this looks even brighter than what it did before. It definitely said they made it less bright, but at least in the firing range, this, I don't remember it being this bright. They definitely didn't make it less bright. This is how it looks in game in a brighter area, and it still looks good. They definitely didn't make it super dull. Let's try it in like a building. Maybe it glows a little bit less here. It's definitely nowhere as ridiculous as it was in the firing range. So if they did nerf the camo in terms of brightness, it wasn't a ton. I didn't use it a lot in Modern Warfare 3. The last time I used this camo was in Modern Warfare 2. Unfortunately, don't have any footage of this in Modern Warfare 3 to compare it to, but I don't know. I feel like people are going to freak out about this nerf, but to me, it's probably not that bad. I mean, it looks great in light areas. Take it in the dark. It looks good. It just, yeah, I guess it doesn't have that crazy hue around it that it used to have. I'm not too bothered about this change, but let me know your opinions on the ghoulie camo nerf, if you can call it that. Next, we've got the multiplayer exclusive updates. Wins will now progress armory unlocks without first completing the daily challenges. They actually did this with the last update. However, the UI didn't reflect this change. So now if you look in game, it's going to tell you this. That's all that really happened with that. Bug fixes. Player will no longer experience graphical corruption when transmitting between the field upgrades and social menus. I didn't have this issue. XP requirements for the progression menu will no longer display as negative values under certain conditions. Once again, probably a pretty rare issue. Attachments that were incompatible with the current section can no longer be equipped to a weapon. Challenges. Updated the description of the Gilded Camo Challenge for the MTZ-556. So there was a typo in this camo challenge. It now reads off with exactly what you have to do in game. Weekly challenges requiring triple kills and quad kills will now properly track completion. Maps. Derail. Adjusted the environmental fog to increase contrast, improving visibility. Estate. Decreased grime on windows on the lodge to improve clarity. Next, we've got the weapon buffs and nerfs, and there's quite a bit here. So starting off with the Holger 556, this got a nerf. They decreased the headshot damage, they decreased the neck and upper torso damage, and they increased the sprint to fire time. So all around, it just cut a bunch of nerfs here. The DG58, which was probably the best assault rifle in the entire game, once again, this got hit with a bunch of nerfs. Decreased the maximum damage, decreased the medium damage, decreased the next damage, and they increased the burst delay. Then the FR556, another assault rifle. This one got hit pretty hard as well. Decreased the maximum damage, decreased the medium damage, the minimum damage, decreased headshot, decreased leg and foot, increased aim down sights time, and increased the sprint to fire time. The Striker, which is the first SMG in the game, the one that was really good in the beta, this one got a buff. They increased the maximum damage, increased the medium damage, increased the far damage, and they decreased the aim down sights time. Then we've got the AMR9. This one got a buff, increased the lower torso damage, and they decreased the sprint to fire time. Then we've got the Striker 9, which is probably the best SMG in the game. This one got nerfed. They decreased the maximum damage and they decreased the aim down sights time. The goal of these changes was to reduce how powerful the FR556 and the DG58 are. Both weapons will now require 2 headshots to kill an enemy with a single 3-round burst fire. Additionally, these changes aim to improve the consistency and viability of submachine guns to the intended target for the class. Now we've got changes to the perks. Ordnance gloves, removed undocumented reduction to the cook duration of frag grenades. Next, we've got the zombies changes from this update. Mission, storm the castle. Warlord kill credit is now squad based and the required mission item will now spawn when a member of your squad kills the target. I know a lot of people were having issues with this mission, so that's been fixed. So hopefully you can go in game and finish it now. Interceptor, destroy a mercenary convoy now accurately tracks completion. Picking up a key card from a mercenary at the convoy will always count towards mission completion now. Perca-Colas. Tombstone will no longer appear in the next session if a player exfils while in last stand. I think this was a glitch where people were able to keep items and they were able to exfil as well. That no longer works. General. Essence can no longer be stowed. You were able to take out essence from your money slot and put it in your backpack. And you could do some weird things like that. Like you could drop 1 essence at a time. Wasn't a big deal, but that can't happen anymore. Address an issue where newly stowed items, acquisitions, or schematics would be replaced and therefore lost with previously sold items that underwent a swap item menu interaction. So what it's saying is some people were selling items, but those items were, I guess, still technically in their inventory. Then they would put new items in their inventory, like acquisitions or schematics, and then those items would disappear. I never personally had this issue, but if you were having this, should hopefully be fixed now. Closed various exploits related to the symbol monkeys. So people have found ways to throw symbol monkeys on top of sentry turrets, and it essentially makes like a god mode glitch and all the zombies run towards the sentry gun. That's been fixed. Close an exploit that permitted duplication of score streaks. I think this was actually fixed quite a while ago, but it's on the patch notes now. People were duplicating jugs and sentry guns at exfil locations. But yeah, you can no longer duplicate score streaks. Then we've got some changes to the actual zombies. Zombie spawn priority has been adjusted to favor increased ground spawning. Players can expect fewer ambient zombie spawns on rooftops and higher elevations. So now when a zombie spawns in, it's going to have a way higher chance to spawn on the ground and not up on a rooftop. So if you're in the city area, it might be a pretty safe way to play now to just go rooftop to rooftop. That way you don't have to deal with as many zombies. Then we've got the mercenaries. These are the bots that are in the zombie mode, not the zombies, but the ones with guns that shoot back at you. A lot of people find these ones annoying. Mercenary damage against player armor has been reduced. So when you're doing contracts or if you're in an area where there's bots that are shooting back at you, they're going to be doing less damage against your armor, which I think this is a pretty good change. I have not been doing a lot of contracts that involve mercenaries because they're just kind of annoying to deal with and they do shred you in some scenarios. Then we've got shielded soldiers, which is my least favorite type of enemy, even in DMZ. I don't like dealing with enemies with shields. Shielded soldiers now have a slower fire rate when engaged. That is huge. Pack-a-Punch. Address an issue with the UI that would incorrectly show Pack-a-Punch level 3 as Pack-a-Punch tier 4. This was a bug. People were getting crystals that would say, hey, this is going to Pack-a-Punch your weapon to tier 4. And sometimes you'd see a tier 4 level weapon. This makes me wonder that if some point in the future there is going to be a Pack-a-Punch level 4, but we'll just have to see in the future for that. Because right now, obviously, Pack 3 is the highest level, but sometimes it would show 4, but it was just a visual bug. Stability, various stability fixes, pretty vague, but hopefully the game is crashing less for people now. That is everything in these patch notes here. So not the biggest set of patch notes, but there were some much needed changes in here, especially when it comes to the missions in zombies. So anything you're having issues with, hopefully that has now been fixed. But with that, guys, we're going to wrap this up. If you want to stay fully up to date with everything going on with Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare Zombies and see more rapid style news videos like this, make sure to unlock the sub button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Peace.